Okay, so the next thing we're going to start thinking about is we're going to start thinking about competitor analysis. Okay, we've started to talk a lot about what we're doing. We've had a good look at our customers and how we're going to target them. But just as soon as we have a business out there, of course, there's always someone who wants to ruin our day and come along, and we call those our competitors. Now, rather than have them ruin our day, we're hoping to actually ruin theirs a little bit better. So what we need to do is we need to know who they are, where they are, and what they're doing. All right, so it's essential in all our areas of our business, and it will really help us clearly define how we're different. Because once we understand what they're doing, we can start coming up with, well, how do we differ to that, and how can we do it a little bit better? All right, the next thing we think about is when we're talking about competitor analysis, is we're coming up with a context which we can position our product or service in relation to our brand image. Okay, we know where they are, so we can be somewhere else. We know where they're aiming at and what sort of brand they want to be known as, so we can start to shape ourselves as well just a little bit. And talk about our benefits, our price, those sort of things. So when we talk about competitors, a competitor is any business that offers the same or similar products or services to the same group of customers. So what we're really looking for there is the same or similar, same product to same people. Okay, so good example, if I'm Pizza Hut, Domino's. Okay, Pizza Hut sells pizza to people, usually Friday night on a sofa watching movies. Domino's, same. Domino's, Pizza Hut, very similar product. Once again, the only difference is which box is tasty to eat because both the products taste terrible. Anyway, but aside from that, okay, it's the same sort of product to the same sort of people. Okay, and that's what we're talking about, our competitor. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can look at that. We can look at that as, when we're thinking about it, there's actually three groups of people. There's our direct competitors. Then there's indirect. And then lastly, there's the emerging. Okay, and we'll start to have a look at, who these different groups are. So, we break it down to thinking about the category of our, once we know that, we need to start thinking about a little bit more detail about them. So, regardless of where they're sitting here, we need to think about, well, where are they located? So, where are their businesses? We need to think about what are the products they offer. Okay, we need to start thinking about what are the services they offer to people. We need to then start thinking about, well, what are the markets? The next consideration there is their point of sale, so where, so how does their sales system work? Is it retail, shopfront, what does it happen to be? Okay, moving on from there, we need to think about what's their pricing structure. Okay, so regardless of whether they're direct or indirect, all these things come into it. We need to think about their strengths, so what they do well, and weakness, what they don't do so well, that we can start to capitalize. Okay, so this is what we start to think about first, are they direct, indirect, or emerging? And then we start thinking around the rest of that analysis. Okay, now the reason we do that is so we can understand that who are they, what are they doing. If we've got that, we've got a pretty good snapshot. Now remember, competitor, same product to the same people. We need to think about, are they absolutely direct or could they be possibly indirect? And then we start to think about these various different elements there. Where are they located, etc. Where are they located? What are they offering to people? What are the services they offer? What market are they dealing in? What's their point of sale? So how do I get the goods and services? The pricing structure, so how expensive or cheap are they? Then their strengths, then their weaknesses. Okay, so what we're now trying to do is, now that we've understood, our competitor analysis, what we now need to try and do is work out, well, what's our advantage? How are we going to get an advantage to help us do a little bit better than them and to go out and really start to push our product? So when we talk about the advantage part, where we're really going here is create that competitive advantage. How do we make our products and services meaningfully different? Okay, so how do we make them different? And not just we offer a different colour to someone else, or it's basically the same product. Pizza Hut and Domino's, the problem that, what's the advantage of one over the other? Well, nothing really, they're the same product. So when I pick up a phone, I'm just as likely to call one as the other. There's no real point of differentiation there, so it's same. What we're trying to do is we're trying to become more cost effective perhaps. Okay, that's probably a key one there, is to become able to produce the good or service cheaper than our competitor, because that's going to affect our price and save us money there. Okay, so The other one is to be able to offer products or services which our customers feel are, they're superior to that offered by our competitors. Okay, so we start to talk about higher quality or superiority. In other words, can we make it cheaper? Can we make it better? Can we make it cheaper and better? That would be perfect, wouldn't it? Okay, so we need to start thinking about also, we've got other options. We can start thinking about our depth of our offering. Okay, so, how many different layers of product. They've only got 4 different types of pizza. We've got 50 types of pizza, if that's maybe where we want to come from. We can also start talking about our qualities better. Okay, so do we have a better quality? Is the finished goods better than our competitors' goods? Okay, are they unique? Do we have a competitive advantage in that we're unique? We're the only people that really do what we do, or we've got a new spin on it, or something that's actually different that no one else has really got. We can start to think about our knowledge and skills. Okay, and where we're talking about that is, a doctor's a doctor, but when I was a kid, everybody knew there was this one doctor that was in the local neighbourhood and he was the best doctor you could go to. Okay, he had specific skills, everyone wanted to go to him and he could give you a diagnosis very, very quickly. He was just the best at what he did. If you were ill and no one knew what it was, you'd send it to him and magically he'd come up with an answer so much faster than everybody else. He had unique knowledge or skills, he could apply them very quickly. Okay, so we need to also start thinking about image. Okay, the image of your company, have you got like a cool image? Are people attracted to it? Things like Red Bull, very much about image. If you're one of these cool alternative extreme sports guys, you drink Red Bull because that's the image that relates to you. Do you own that as your company? Is that your point of difference over some of the other ones? Okay, you might think about things like, that also ties into reputation. Okay, do you have the reputation? You can start thinking about your location. We start to get into things like your customer service. Do I have, as I said, you've got location there. Location might be one that you look at. Do we have an interesting or unique location? Is that another point of difference? Once again, I go on holidays in the Blue Mountains. You get some places that have got some amazing views because they're well situated. So they can actually charge a premium because they've got such a great view. People go for the view. Sometimes not the food. And there's a few businesses like that in Sydney I can mention that you happen to have a great view, but the food is rubbish, but they charge you top dollars and it's always full because people go for the view. Okay, it might be availability. You might have great working hours. You might have great accessibility for your potential customers. Okay, days and hours of opening might be superior, or it could just be that, there's parking. Something as simple as having parking for your customers can really change it if your competitor doesn't nearby, okay, because they can get to you, they can't get to someone else. So we come up with a bit of a strategy around that, and in order to start to come up with some sort of strategy, we need to have some sort of formula which positions my marketing mix in a particular way. Okay, and if we can get these things right, if we've got this formula right, if we've looked at these different things that we do, that's going to allow us to get to a better position than our competitors and start to outmaneuver them. Okay, we're creating that cost effectiveness, we're looking at our superiority of the product, and we can have a look at that depth of offering, and our strategy is to make sure that we're just doing it better than they are. Okay, so the first part was obviously getting a really good idea of what our competitors do and then working out what we can bring to the table in regards to these that are going to allow us to do it a little bit better or become the more attractive option than the competitors. All right, so we've got that whole range there. Come up with your strategy, come up with your strategic advantage, think about which of these you want to do better than them. Now remember, we've looked at their strengths and weaknesses, outmaneuver their strengths and weaknesses, have a very clear picture of what we're trying to do. And then later on, we're going to start talking about, putting it out there and letting everyone know what it is. But look for your sense of advantage. Look for the thing that you can do that they can't, whether it's even just being more responsive to your customers' needs. Okay, a lot of these things aren't hard. Having good customer service is not an expensive thing for your business, but good customer service is something that people do so poorly. If nothing else, building those sort of things is probably the easiest and the cheapest, and will certainly put you out there. So take advantage of the things that are going to help you. Make sure that you can mitigate the rivals and push them to the side, and then you'll have a successful business. Everything will go well, and hopefully you'll do plenty of trade. All right, good luck with that.